teach me how to make a black Bullwinkle.
Where are my cheerleaders?
Junior!
They were once the picture of the perfect sitcom family. Loud, loving, and unforgettable. But time didn't just change their faces. It rewrote their lives in ways few fans ever noticed. In 2026, the cast of My Wife and Kids looks nothing like the family America thought it knew. Damon Wayans as Michael Kyle. Damon Wayans was born on September 4th, 1960, in New York City. He was 40 years old when My Wife and Kids premiered in 2001, portraying Michael Kyle, the sharp-witted yet deeply devoted father whose humor and authority anchored the series. Behind the laughter, Wayans was under intense personal strain. His 16-year marriage to Lisa Thorner collapsed during the early seasons, with the divorce finalized in 2000. The separation coincided with the show's rise, forcing him to project warmth and control on screen while privately navigating emotional upheaval and the responsibility of raising 4 children under constant public attention. Though already a star from In Living Color and stand-up comedy, Wayans entered the series facing serious health challenges. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, a lifelong condition requiring strict management amid demanding production schedules. Physical exhaustion and pressure mounted, even as his performance remained energetic and effortless to viewers. Wayans later acknowledged periods of depression, shaped by creative pressure, family responsibility, and the weight of the Wayans legacy. By 2026, at age 65, he lives more privately, carefully managing his health and choosing projects selectively, carrying forward a career defined as much by resilience as by laughter. Tisha Campbell as Janet J. Kyle. Tisha Campbell, born on October 13, 1968 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, was 32 years old when My Wife and Kids premiered in 2001. She portrayed Janet J. Kyle, the confident, quick-witted matriarch whose warmth and emotional intelligence grounded the family and balanced Michael Kyle's humor. Campbell's career began early. A child performer with natural charisma, she rose to prominence in the 1990s through Martin, where her sharp comedic timing made her a household name. Unlike many sitcom stars, she sustained visibility across decades, balancing television, film, and music while maintaining a respected industry presence. Off-screen, however, her personal life proved far more turbulent. In 2018, after 21 years of marriage, Campbell filed for divorce from actor Dwayne Martin, later alleging long-term emotional, mental, and physical abuse. The separation unfolded publicly and painfully, exposing a private struggle that starkly contrasted her image of strength and stability. Campbell revealed she was left nearly penniless, entangled in a highly publicized bankruptcy involving approximately $15 million. The ordeal forced a humbling reset, dismantling the illusion of security fame once promised. Around the same time, she continued managing pulmonary sarcoidosis, a chronic lung condition that had previously threatened her ability to work. By 2026, Tisha Campbell appears changed, less polished, more guarded, but enduring. Her journey reflects not decline, but survival. A woman who weathered success, collapse, illness, and reinvention, emerging with a quieter, harder-earned resilience. George O. Gore II as Michael Kyle Jr. George O. Gore II was born on December 15, 1982, in Fort Washington, Maryland. He was 18 years old when My Wife and Kids premiered in 2001, stepping into the role of Michael Kyle Jr., the eccentric, lovable son whose unpredictable logic and physical comedy made him one of the sitcom's most memorable characters. During the series' 5-season run, Gore matured on screen, navigating adolescence under constant public attention. Beyond acting, he quietly expanded his creative range by directing several episodes, an uncommon responsibility for a young cast member and a sign of interests extending beyond performance. While audiences saw a carefree character, Gore was already exploring the mechanics of storytelling from behind the camera. After My Wife and Kids ended in 2005, Gore gradually stepped away from mainstream acting, appearing far less frequently as he moved out of Hollywood's spotlight. Rather than chase immediate roles or attempt to escape typecasting at any cost, he chose distance from the industry's spotlight. This shift marked a conscious redirection, prioritizing personal development and long-term perspective over constant visibility. By 2026, George O. Gore II lives largely outside Hollywood's glare, rarely appearing in public and maintaining a private life far removed from the expectations attached to his childhood fame. Jazz Raycole as Claire Kyle, Season 1. Jazz Raycole, born on February 11, 1988 in Stockton, California, was just 13 years old when My Wife and Kids premiered in 2001. Cast as the original Claire Kyle, the eldest daughter, she brought a composed confidence and sharp maturity that set the emotional tone of the Kyle family. Despite a strong debut, Raycole's time on the series ended abruptly. Before Season 2, she was unexpectedly replaced, a decision made off-screen that shocked viewers and left the young actress processing rejection in full public view. At an age when identity is still forming, the loss of a breakout role became a formative emotional rupture, quietly altering her relationship with acting and with Hollywood itself. Though she continued working steadily, appearing on shows like The Bernie Mac Show and Everybody Hates Chris, her career unfolded without the momentum typically granted to sitcom leads. Visibility came in fragments rather than waves, and the promise of early fame faded into persistence rather than prominence. In 2020, Raycole faced another setback when CBS declined her participation in the Lincoln Lawyer pilot. When Netflix revived the series in 2021, she was cast in a similar role, an understated but meaningful return. By late 2025, she had found renewed stability as Izzy Letts, with Season 4 completed and set to premiere on February 5, 2026. Jennifer Freeman as Claire Kyle. Jennifer Nicole Freeman was born on October 20, 1985, in Los Angeles, California. She was just 15 years old when she joined My Wife and Kids in 2002, taking over the role of Claire Kyle and quickly becoming a teen icon of the early 2000s. Fame arrived fast and without insulation. Growing up in front of millions of viewers, Freeman was thrust into public scrutiny during her most vulnerable years. Her appearance, relationships, and personal growth became topics of constant attention, forcing her to mature under the pressure of expectations that rarely allow room for mistakes. The boundary between her real identity and her on-screen image began to blur, shaping how she was perceived long after the show ended. Freeman's marriage to NBA player Earl Watson ended in a highly publicized and painful divorce, an experience that unfolded under public observation and intensified emotional strain. As opportunities in Hollywood became less consistent, the demands of maintaining a polished image added another layer of stress, reinforcing the cost of early fame that never truly fades. By 2026, Freeman active and visible, her presence reflects someone shaped by early success and hard-earned self-awareness. Parker McKenna Posey as Katie Kyle. Parker McKenna Posey, born on August 18, 1995, in Los Angeles, California. She was only 6 years old when My Wife and Kids premiered in 2001, playing Katie Kyle, the adorable youngest child whose innocence, sharp one-liners, and expressive reactions made her one of the show's most beloved characters. When the series ended in 2005, Posey struggled with the transition from child star to adult identity. As she matured, the gap between the sweet image audiences remembered and the reality of adulthood became increasingly difficult to navigate. Posey's appearance, lifestyle, and personal choices were scrutinized in real time, often turning her private life into public controversy. The constant comparison to her childhood role and the expectations attached to it fueled periods of instability, making it hard to redefine herself outside the shadow of Katie Kyle. In late 2018, Posey's personal struggles became public after reports emerged that her then-partner, Chris Sales, had physically assaulted her. She alleged that the attack left her with facial swelling, bruised eyes, and injuries across her body, and stated that she feared for her life. She also described a pattern of prior abusive behavior which ultimately led to his arrest. Today, Posey appears far removed from the smiling child audiences once adored, her story standing as a stark example of how fame too early can leave lasting scars long after the applause fades. Noah Gray-Cabey as Franklin Aloysius Mumford. Born on November 16, 1995 in Chicago, Illinois. Noah Gray-Cabey was only 6 years old when he appeared on My Wife and Kids in the early 2000s, portraying Franklin Aloysius Mumford, Katie Kyle's soft-spoken, highly intelligent best friend. Unlike many child actors, Gray-Cabey's fame did not originate from acting alone. He was already known as a musical prodigy, performing classical piano at a remarkably young age. That dual identity shaped his early career, allowing him to move between television and music with an intelligence beyond his years. After My Wife and Kids, he continued acting in projects such as Heroes and Code Black, showing steady but selective growth rather than aggressive career expansion. As he grew older, Gray-Cabey gradually stepped back from the spotlight. The transition from gifted child to adult artist proved complex, and public appearances became increasingly rare. In later years, he spoke about navigating neurodiversity and the emotional pressure of growing up as a gifted child in the public eye, offering context to his early experiences navigating fame, pressure, and expectation while still developing emotionally and socially. In 2026, Noah Gray-Cabey lives far from the image of the child genius audiences remember. Megan Good as Vanessa Scott. Megan Monique Good was born on August 8, 1981 in Los Angeles, California. She was in her early 20s when she appeared on My Wife and Kids as Vanessa Scott, a recurring guest character whose beauty, confidence, and emotional intensity left a strong impression despite limited screen time. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, Good built a high-profile career in film and television while also cultivating a public image rooted in faith and personal discipline. That image became central to her identity in 2012, when she married preacher and producer Devon Franklin. For years, their marriage was presented as a model of spiritual partnership, until it quietly unraveled. In December 2021, after 9 years together, Good and Franklin divorced. She later described the separation as the most painful experience of her life, admitting it took months to process the grief and emotional collapse that followed. The end of the marriage forced her to confront not only heartbreak, but also financial strain and mental exhaustion, as she worked to rebuild stability while under constant public scrutiny. Public pressure intensified again with her controversial relationship and eventual marriage in March 2025 to actor Jonathan Majors. Good faced widespread criticism for standing by him throughout his legal battles involving assault and harassment charges. By 2026, she appears profoundly changed, more guarded, more polarizing, and visibly shaped by loss, judgment, and resilience. Brooklyn Sudano as Vanessa Scott. Brooklyn Sudano was born on January 5, 1981, in Los Angeles, California, the daughter of music legend Donna Summer. She was in her early 20s when she appeared on My Wife and Kids as Vanessa Scott, taking over the role in later episodes and stepping into a character already familiar to audiences. Entering the role came with quiet pressure. Being a replacement meant inevitable comparison, and Sudano faced the challenge of defining herself while carrying both a borrowed character and a famous last name. While My Wife and Kids gave her visibility, it also highlighted the difficulty of escaping inherited expectations, both from the role itself and from her family legacy. After the sitcom, Sudano continued working steadily, earning respect for her performances in television dramas and genre series. Unlike many of her peers, her career did not collapse, but it also never fully detached from the shadow of comparison. Opportunities came measured and selective, reinforcing a path built on persistence rather than explosive fame. By 2026, Brooklyn Sudano remains active and recognizable, yet strikingly different from the sitcom image audiences remember. Damon Wayans Jr. as John. Damon Wayans Jr. was born on November 18, 1982, in Huntington, Vermont, into one of Hollywood's most famous comedy families. He was in his late teens and early 20s when he appeared on My Wife and Kids as John, the smooth-talking, self-assured boyfriend of Claire Kyle. At the time, Wayans Jr. was still living in the shadow of his father, Damon Wayans, and the larger Wayans legacy. Appearing on the same show created opportunity, but also pressure, as audiences and industry insiders questioned whether his presence was earned or inherited. Rather than leaning entirely on the family name, he used the role to sharpen his timing and establish his own comedic rhythm, quietly preparing for a larger breakout. Wayans Jr.'s early career was marked by instability, including being abruptly written out of New Girl due to contractual conflicts, only to be brought back after fan demand. The constant starts and stops reflected the difficulty of building an independent identity while carrying a famous surname. Success was visible, but never fully secure. By 2026, Damon Wayans Jr. is widely recognized in his own right, yet far removed from the charming sitcom boyfriend audiences first saw on My Wife and Kids. 25 years later, My Wife and Kids still replays as comfort television. But the people behind those smiles paid very real prices for growing up in front of the world. Time didn't just change their faces, it changed their direction, their confidence, and their place in Hollywood. Which transformation shocked you the most? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe as we continue uncovering the untold stories behind television's most beloved families.